You've been lied to about anger. It's not strength, it's not passion, and it's not power. It's slavery, a secret chain around your neck that others yank whenever they want. And if you don't learn to sever it, you'll be their puppet for the rest of your life. You think you're in control, but every time you snap, every time you raise your voice, every time you let someone get under your skin, you are handing over your mind, your energy, your peace, willingly. Epictetus warned you, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That's not a metaphor, it's a mirror. He's telling you that the world doesn't make you angry, you make you angry, and this is where the quiet power begins. Imagine this, someone insults you, belittles you, mocks you in public. Most people would flare up, argue back, stew in it for days. But what if instead you observed it like weather, passing, meaningless, just noise? Marcus Aurelius sat at the height of an empire, and yet he wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." That is your sword and your shield. Anger dies when you starve it of meaning. Your ego screams, "But they disrespected me." And that is the fatal error. You believe your ego is you. It's not. The ego is a parasite, thriving off every perceived slight. Kill it, and you kill the fuel of your rage. The shocking truth is that you can become immune, not numb, not indifferent, but untouchable, calm in the face of chaos. And it starts when you internalize the first law of Stoicism. Control what you can, ignore what you cannot. You can't control what others say, do, or think, but you can always control your reaction. And that's not just some motivational quote, it's the core operating system of the unbothered. Seneca wrote in Letters from a Stoic that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Every difficult person in your life is a test, and when you respond with anger, you fail it. You prove you are weak, reactive, dependent on external validation. But when you respond with stillness, detachment, and silence, you reveal your inner fortress, built from discipline and sharpened by self-mastery. Here's the hidden danger. Anger always masquerades as justice. It tells you they deserved it. But anger is rarely about the present. It's usually old wounds echoing through your body. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly you're filled with a rage that has nothing to do with that moment. That's the trap. You are dragging the past into the present and calling it righteous. In A Guide to the Good Life, Irvin explains that anger can be dismantled by negative visualization. Ask yourself, what if this is the last time I ever see this person? What if this conversation is your final one? Would you waste it on shouting, sarcasm, resentment? You know the answer. The Stoics lived every day as if it could be their last, memento mori. And when you live like that, the things that once enraged you become laughable. Someone's opinion, temporary. Their rudeness, fleeting. Your time, however, irreplaceable. You don't get those minutes back. Each second you spend angry is a second you surrender your power. The real warning here is that anger is addictive. It feels good, it feels strong, but it leaves you emptier each time, like a drug. And just like a drug, it builds tolerance. Soon, you need more of it, louder confrontations, bigger outbursts, until eventually you become the very thing you hated in others. The wise man sees this early and cuts it off at the root. In the Enchiridion, Epictetus writes, "When someone does you wrong, immediately consider what view of good or evil led him to do it. Once you see that, you will pity him, not hate him. That is the secret. Seeing ignorance instead of malice, delusion instead of evil. People are not trying to ruin your day. They are simply lost, like you once were. When you understand this, compassion replaces contempt, and peace replaces fire. But don't mistake this for weakness. To be unbothered is not to be passive. It is to be deliberate, to respond only when necessary, and only in the most calculated way. In the Daily Stoic, Holiday reminds you, being angry is easy, but to be angry at the right person, in the right amount, at the right time, for the right reason, and in the right way, that is not easy. And most of the time, it is not worth it. Ask yourself, what does this cost me? Is this argument, this reaction, this bitterness worth my inner stability? You are not here to win verbal battles. You are here to win the war within. That is the real arena. And this is the terrifying part. If you don't master your emotions, someone else will. Your boss, your spouse, your enemies, even strangers on the internet. Anyone with the right insult can control you like a puppet if you allow it. But the moment you pause before you react, the moment you breathe and observe instead of lash out, you break the chain. That moment is your liberation. And it's not a one-time fix. It's a discipline, a ritual. You rehearse it daily, like the Stoics did. Wake up and expect obstacles, expect fools, expect betrayal. Then, when it arrives, you are not shocked, you are prepared. Donald Robertson in Stoicism and the Art of Happiness calls this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, not to be pessimistic, but to remain unfazed, because nothing surprises the prepared mind. And when you stop being surprised, you stop being provoked. So next time someone raises their voice, ignores you, mocks you, or betrays you, remember this: their behavior is not about you. It's a reflection of their character. Your reaction, however, is about you, and it's a reflection of your philosophy. So choose stillness, choose silence, choose sovereignty. Let them rage, gossip, lie, scream. You don't move, because in the end, the one who controls himself controls the world.